Welcome everyone to another episode of Club Baroness here for the Phantom Dust Winter Tag Tournament. This is going to be to discuss Swiss Round 1 and make predictions for Round 2 of the Swiss. With me tonight, I have Unstoppable Gur,
Hello.
Xanxus,
What's up, everyone?
and Goatrix.
Howdy.
And we may have Mirage joining us later. That was a little unclear. But we'll go ahead and get started underway. We're going to start with the round one matchups and kind of do a recap here. We had, I guess we'll just start left to right. We'll start with Mr. Math 101 and Reborn Guinan versus Jokers and Sadistic Soul. Would you like to take that one away, Goatrix?
Yeah, sure. I admit, didn't pay as good attention to it as I should have, simply because I was kind of expecting Reborn and to take it pretty cleanly, but it turned out to be a lot more even of a series than I thought, and I'm not sure if it was because Reborn and Math were still working out some things, or if Jokers and Statistic had actually improved. But it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, did you guys see that one as well?
I did.
Yeah. What did you think of that matchup there, Xanxus?
I actually was looking forward to it, just because Sadistic Souls and Jokers weren't able to really play the whole tournament the last time I've played with them previously. They're pretty solid players. So it was good seeing them fighting another top tier team, and it was a pretty good fight, back and forth, especially the one on Highway. So they're really great matches. So
Yeah, I was impressed with the fight they put up there. They've always been a good team. I really enjoyed a little bit of extra revenge, justice served, kind of watching the gravity hammer or gravity press Thor's hammer combo onto Guinan on Highway. That actually felt really good to watch. Did you get to see that one at all, Gur?
No, I didn't actually, but I do remember playing with Joker and Sadistic. They are a really solid team, and Reborn's pretty solid with anybody he plays with. So it would have been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that one was definitely a good series. Did you happen to see the next series, Affin and Orange Baby versus Xanxus and Xexus Gur?
No, like I was saying earlier, I didn't have much time to go through many of them. I do, however, I remember Orange Baby from playing on original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been crazy fun to watch because Xanxus and Xexus are ridiculous, and Orange Baby used to be crazy ridiculous. So
Yeah, we got to see Orange Baby's cornucopia of environmentals. That was fun to see, I think. Did you catch that one, Goatrix?
I did. I
Yeah.
admit, I kind of tuned out on them because it was like, man, they're getting their asses stomped. And so it was hard for me to focus because it was just like, it was interesting, but at the same time, it's like, they're getting beat pretty bad. And yes, it was cute seeing like 4 different enviros that like make no sense together in one arse. It was cool, but they hopefully they have it polished up for this round.
Yeah, I think it was, unfortunately one of the tougher matchups because we had, in my opinion, the team to beat show up against arguably the team that has the most they need to prove. And so it was definitely a tough one. Do you have any insight since you played in that match, Xanxus? Anything that you noticed that maybe we didn't catch in the cast?
only thing I can say, I mean, I think they can be a solid team if they had some time to practice. I know that Orange and Affin, when they got into the game originally, were saying they really didn't have any time to play together. So I'm thinking if they've got some time to play and coordinate stuff together, they can possibly get a few wins and stuff like that. So those environments were the only things that were tricky. I knew he was going to be throwing out a bunch of them, and one of them could have screwed me, especially the one on Palace where they could have hung it. If they hung that, that would have killed my whole arsenal immediately. So
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, hang it, hang it, hang it, and they didn't do it, and I died a little on the inside
Yeah.
when they didn't hang it.
yeah, would have screwed both me and Xexus. So
Yeah, it was a fun one to watch, nonetheless. I guess
agree.
our next series on here, if you want to take this one, Xanxus, is Evolution and Sandal versus Madman and Mirage.
I guess this one we only got part of it. I did speak with Evolution, and the map that got cut off partially. They used a really interesting arsenal, so I was looking forward to watching it. Wasn't able to, but there were really good games back and forth. Whenever they play, I look forward to seeing it because they come up with the most craziest arsenals. They've used them against me many times. So anytime they're in a game, you never know what to expect. So
Yeah, I think it's going to be real interesting. I actually have to face them this round, and we'll have full footage, but I don't know if I can be happy about it because
yeah, I
it's
wouldn't
so
I
many
wouldn't look
shenanigans.
forward to it. Mhm.
We've got plans, we've got ideas. Hopefully, we can handle it and not get too screwed over by that. Did either of you guys, Goatrix or Gur, see that series?
I did. So it's funny because on the one hand, I know for a fact Evolution hates being referred to as a mad scientist kind of guy because he wants to play more straightforward and less wacky stuff. But at the same time, he packs Disintegrate in so many things and tries all these weird ideas, and it's like, how do you not earn the title?
Yeah, I know. I watch them and they're testing ways to hit Disintegrate on jumpers and things like that, and they have all these wacky ideas, and I'm often one of the people he bounces the ideas off of, which could be an advantage for us going to the round, but maybe not. But yeah, it's strange to see him try and buck that title with all of the nasty little things he does.
Yeah, it was a bit much. Although I will say that it seemed like they were playing a little bit more straightforward in the games they were playing. They're pretty good.
I think the ones that they won were mostly the straightforward. I think they got pooped on City when they tried something sketchy, and then they won a straight up match whenever on Sign for sure. I know they won Sign in a straight up fashion. What did they do on Highway? Oh, they did win with the reduced entropy, right?
I think it was. I can't remember if it was reduced entropy. I know on City they went for like Chill Breeze, Disintegrate, and they ended up hitting each other.
Yeah, yeah, that looks like it didn't work very well.
Yeah, and then Highway's the game where where we lost part of the feed, and so didn't get the end result of that. Through footage, they won Highway. I can't remember all that they. I just remember that's where the cut happened. Begin.
That was definitely a fun series. So the next one, I guess, for those who haven't been following too closely, requires a bit of explanation. Goatrix, you want to explain how this matchup came to be?
Are we talking
Doom?
Kanye Doom versus Ebony and
Yeah.
Savage? Okay, the too long didn't read version. Ebony and Savage were partnered with other people. In fact, I think it was Ebony and Kanye and Savage and Bro God, if I'm correct.
No, it was Savage and Ebony. Or Savage and
Okay,
Kanye.
Savage and Kanye. Either which way, Ebony and Savage are kind of a known team. And last minute, they decided to re-team up together for the tag team tournament. Kanye was down a partner, and at the very last minute, Doomsday decided to pick up the slack and join in the fray.
Yeah, Doom, the greatest ringer of all time, showed up for that match.
That is the best luck of all the people to randomly show up for your team and play. It's like, well, I can't. Who is it? Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw the video. I'm like, Doomsday's playing? Like, what's going on?
I know
Yeah.
he was kind of iffy about whether or not he wanted to join this tournament, and he drug his heels for a long time. And then I think he saw like the footage started coming out, and people were excited, and I think it kind of got to him. He's like, "Man, I wish I was playing." And so then an
I'm
opportunity
glad.
presented, and he just dove on it.
Oh
I'm
my
glad he
god.
did because we didn't get to play him in the last tournament. Something I was looking forward to. So I'm glad he's in it.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's really good to have that legacy talent in here, and to see. I mean, it's with a last minute partnership, so that's going to be hard to judge. Hopefully with time they can grow into it. I think they're definitely a playoff capable team, especially after their round one victory over another team that would have been, one of my playoff teams. I think it was definitely an impressive showing. Did you get to see any of that one yourself, Kerr?
I've been watching it off and on right now. It's really interesting just to see how Doom is going to town on both Savage and Ebony. I don't always see Kanye's stuff, but I mean, he's been really, really solid about just kind of pinning them down and keeping them down and going back and forth between targets constantly. So you're never quite sure who he's going after. I've played with him before, against him and with him, and he's really good about milieu management, managing whatever space he's playing in, and being personally optimized. It's never just he's going to run down one person. It's always really impressive. So I think Kanye really lucked out.
Yeah, Doom's pressure is legendary. I've been saying for a long time, there's a lot of arguments on who the very best player is. But my one argument is always that while you can make a good argument for others, there's nobody that puts pressure down like Doom, in my opinion. The guy is just like a constant terror on the map. If he has a red in his hand, you are constantly in danger, it feels like, no matter where he is.
Yeah,
I agree. He'll take that one split second you decide to make a mistake, and next thing you know, you're getting hit by a Psycho Spear.
Yeah, I feel like there's other players I can kind of, put them on the side and I can maneuver myself where I'm safe, but that I never feel safe when Doom is alive.
Yeah.
Never safe.
There's only two other things I really do want to point out there in regards to that match. One, it's very interesting because normally you don't necessarily get a lot of footage from Doom, but this time you get it strictly from Doom. So not only do you get to see his arsenal builds, you get to see him play in action, which is very interesting because you watch him walk a ton of attacks that normally people would kind of panic over, especially things like Ice Sword. And two, it's fitting justice that Ebony and Savage, after the whole shuffle with the teammates, gets paired up against Doom. I thought that was just fit. That was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to go so far as to start throwing shade, but I don't think anybody can, disagree that it was a little rude to both of them dump their partners in the middle of round one so they could play with each other. And not only that, they were matched up against each other, so it's not like they dumped a partner, substituted somebody they didn't have. They both dumped their partner for their opponent. And so it did feel a bit like poetic justice watching Doom come in and just lay down the Holy Avenger Crusader sword and just destroy them.
Yeah. And like I said, it's interesting also because, simply put, we get to see everything from Doom's point, which is a very rare.
Well, I guess a follow-up point, too, to talk. I'm sorry if I caught somebody there mid-point. We can come back to that, too. But I was going to say, we haven't talked about this team as a team-up yet because they weren't an existing team in the last podcast. So if we were to talk about this team and their chances, where do you guys peg them right now? Top 5? Top 8?
5.
Top 8.
I would say top 5, possibly.
Kanye is consistent. He's usually pretty good as long as he's paying attention. If he's distracted, it doesn't matter what's happening. But as long as he's focused, he's really, really consistent. And Doom just throws down that pressure like it's nobody's business. And going back a little bit to that previous point, I mean, you were saying Savage and Ebony, they've been tag team partners for as long as I can remember, like even way back on original Xbox. Mm-hmm. So just watching them get their faces wiped because they erase everybody's stuff always, and it's super obnoxious. So I am really enjoying the poetic justice of they drop people on their face and then they just get face stomped, and it's great.
I guess Ebony and Savage are Phantom Dust's favorite heel right now. It was definitely a fun matchup, and touching on that topic about where to put them, we talked about before about how we felt there was a really clear top 4. I feel like now I would put them, yeah, it's a very clear top 5, and I feel like most of the other teams are going to be struggling to break into that. And it'll be interesting to see where they maneuver themselves because, that top 5, the top 4, we talked a bit about how we had some that we might favor over others. But now we're looking at, 3 of those top 4 teams are new teams, and it'll be interesting to see which ones do or don't synergize quickly enough and see if Doom is able to overcome those and move up even higher than top 5, maybe top 3, top 2. And so I think it'll be a lot of fun to see in the upcoming rounds. Does anybody have anything else they want to touch on that before we move on to the next one?
Doom fears no man. That's all you need to know.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, so we have this one's a little difficult because 2 of our people here actually participated in it. So I'll hand this one to Xanxus. We had Goatrix and Silent 79 versus Pop Crank and Unstoppable Gurr.
Let me take a look. This is probably the one I haven't watched. I have everything up here in the computer. I know as Gurr stated, he didn't have much time to coordinate with Pop Crank, so there wasn't too much coordination really going on there. Give me just a moment here. You can, if you want to talk about it, Brigham, I'll quickly
I'll go over it, and then we have 2 of the people that were involved in it, so we can get some unique insight in that. So this series was a close one. It was a bit closer than I think a lot of people had predicted beforehand. Pop Crank and Gurr pulled off some pretty good play there, and it was a 3-2 victory to Goatrix and Silent. But it kind of came down to the wire. So tell me a little bit about what worked for you, Gurr. What worked for you guys during that set? What went right for you guys?
I don't know that anything actually went right. Sometimes I just felt we got crazy lucky, and it looked like we did it on purpose. No, really, because like three or 4 of those matches, he was mana hosed. I think it was 3. Like he couldn't get the mana, and so I'm trying to cover him, and I'm a slow build most of the time, so I struggle going quick. So it always felt, especially the first 2, like going into the first couple of matches, I'm like, they're gonna just ace us, and then it just kind of, the first match wasn't great. We kind of did okay. The second match wasn't great. We kind of did okay, and then something just started meshing. Like I think our communication just got way better in like the 3rd match, the 4th match, the 5th match, and that 5th match was by far one of the favorite matches I have ever played. It was crazy. Like I said, I don't know that anything went perfectly right. It just kind of got the bugs worked out, and I think we kind of understood what the other person was going to do a little better. Since we didn't have that time together, it took us those first 2 matches just to kind of figure out, oh, okay, this is kind of your play style, and this is where you're at, and these are the things I'm good at, and these are the things you're good at. So let's just try and make it the best of our ability.
Yeah, I think it was a really good matchup, and I guess the bits that I see, and I touched on it in that podcast, was that you guys do best when Pop Crank kind of plays that survivor style, but he does it in a way to enable you rather than just try and survive. And I did see that work out for you a couple times. I think there was one of those matches where I did see him, he kind of got in that battle royale mentality, and he was just playing to live. But once he remembered that he needed to enable you, that was something that was working for you guys.
Yeah.
What's some stuff, we watched it from your perspective, what's some stuff that we may not have noticed from you and Silent there?
Okay, so we'll give you the fun facts edition of the match from my side. So first and foremost, Silent and I actually don't play together very often. For whatever reason, we just can't find the time to play together, so we have to kind of be able to operate independently. Second thing, because that match got delayed that day, that kind of threw things off for me, because you can start hearing in the background in several matches, I have about 7 people in my house while I'm trying to do this. So I'm getting interrupted with people coming in and out and asking me questions, and of course popping off over fighting game stuff while I'm trying to play this match here. So I'm like, this needs to be over like now. And that's kind of what happens in game 5, where it's like, cool, I'm seeing like 15 holes coming at me, and I have an ice sword. We're going in.
I can just picture Xanxus right now with a 1,000
I
yard
know.
stare.
I was having nightmares.
You were having
So
PTSD.
Yeah, the 1,000 yard stare, just rocking back and forth in his chair right now.
I
exactly.
immediately thought it was Xanxus and Xanxus when I saw those holes on the screen. I'm like, oh my lord. And
I don't know if they're ever going to be able to live that down. You guys are going to have to win like the next 3 tournaments to recover from
Yeah,
this.
we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that I didn't get hit by more holes just trying to charge in like that. But at the same time, I was very impressed by the display going on there right during that last round. It was pretty fun. I was happy. I mean, we won. I mean, it was a good series overall. There were some bad decisions made on me and Silence part during the third and fourth game where it just did not pan together.
Yeah, I don't know. That last 5th match like really just inspired me because I had forgotten all about Earthquake because I've been rocking jackpot stuff for forever because I just think it's funny. But that was just what was that?
So does Silent.
Yeah. And so, not very many people like jackpot, or those type of repetitive hole attacks. They use the one-off disintegrates or the calamities or whatever. So it was just so much fun going like who's gonna get a holy death first. Actually, I remade an arsenal and I renamed it Holy Death because of that match because it was just back to back to back. You like jump and I think I'm going to be okay, and then I'm not okay, and then I get hit by mine in somebody else's hole, and it was just crazy. It was so much fun, though.
Oh.
Yeah, that Palace match was totally nuts. Not safe for work.
No, it wasn't, and I think that the best part of that whole thing was you weren't sure who was going to win because it was so tight right there.
I'm gonna play the Palace match now for people here. I'm gonna start that.
I felt okay once I was able to get in with ice swords. I was like, okay, this
Yeah,
is
that's what I was saying when you got the ice sword
that was the breaking point.
Holes too. So
I mean, I had the fortress to kind of cover myself because there's a couple times when I threw up a fortress and it didn't hit on anything, but it didn't hit me either. So I was like, ooh, okay, well, I lucked out there. But at the same time, it was like hot potato time to jump.
All right, so the one that we didn't really have footage of was Jay and Murder Mastodon versus Darcia and War Machine. The little bits that I do know is Darcia and War Machine attempted a reduce entropy friendship deck on the first map, which I think was City. And I know I don't, well, obviously it didn't work. It ended 3-0 in favor of Jay and Murder Mastodon, but they said that a few of the matches weren't bad. That there was some decent play that went down. I think they struggled to get their hang off correctly on City, which is what hampered them there, which may have given them a little bit of momentum towards Jay and Murder and maybe have been a little disheartening to them. But that one, yeah, it ended 3-0, so that puts Jay and Murder also tied for first right now, going into round 1. Did anybody else hear anything about that series that they want to add, or do we want to move on to the next one since we don't know much?
I didn't hear it, but I did see. Sorry, Xanxus.
No, that's the same thing. I didn't really hear anything. So
I did, however, get a chance to play against Darcia and War Machine, and they did play that arsenal against me and PDDCM. If you didn't see it coming, it's effective. It works. But at the same time, if you miss your hang, you kind of play your cards on the table, and then that's just a cue to obviously start destroying hang spots. Be ready for it in the next couple of games because that's an option that's now on the table, and you kind of set off a red flag for everyone to look out for it.
Okay, so let's move on to one of our other exciting matches here. Who here has had a chance to watch Nathan and Wolf versus Mario and Poor Choices?
I have.
I did. That was the best match.
Did you get to see it, Gur?
No, I'm skimming through it right now.
You don't know what you're missing.
That's
All right, we'll let Goatrix take this one first.
So, last tournament, Nathan and the Wolf, I think, kind of fell short of everyone's expectations, including their own. And so it was nice to see them back in fighting form against a relatively new team that also put up a pretty good fight. But it was very nice to see them playing the way that they did and point out the old classic, the memory lapse arsenal, on top of just some other cool things. It was great to see.
Yeah, it was a fun one. I know you enjoyed it as well, Xanxus. If you want to give us some highlights, talk about a bit.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's watched the video, I mean, the very, very last game, I'm pretty sure that was Panorama, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think
Yeah,
it was
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that was that. I was watching it, and my heart was beating the whole time. How close those games were, and then the fact that Nathan had the used the flame sword, got it erased, and had another flame sword on top of that, and finished it off with that. I got to say that was probably one of the best matches that I've seen so far, at least from round one, from the footage we were able to get. So
Yeah, I think it was a really exciting match. I really enjoyed getting to cast that one. I'm glad that I had that opportunity and that we had the full footage. The lane matchup may have bogged down a little bit, watching Mario charge around the map trying to avoid the 20 damage Psycho Burst that Nathan and Wolf had. But
that was
it was... Sorry, what was that, Goat?
that was my favorite map.
The lane one? Yeah, and then Panorama was really exciting. It was really back and forth. There was like 3 different times where I thought one team had it on lock and then they didn't. And definitely really exciting series. And it was good to see Nathan and Wolf kind of on their way back up, hopefully. And we mentioned that Mario and Poor Choices are a new team, which they are, but they have played together a lot. And they're fairly well known as a solid team right now, too. It's not... They weren't a set of pushovers, and we saw an increased level of play from Mario than I think we have seen in the past, as he did play in the 1v1 tournament. I was really impressed with Mario's play, personally, throughout that series.
I'll agree.
yeah, I agree. Also, they've definitely improved a ton. So
It was a lot of fun to watch, and I'm really interested to see both teams go into the next round as well. And I guess this last one here, we can spend as much time as you want on it here, but I don't get to say too much. It was myself and Monkey versus Daffy and Filthy. Did you see that one, Xanxus?
I believe yes, this one I saw a bit of it.
It wasn't pretty. It was not premier high skill Phantom Dust, at least not from our end.
Let's see. No, actually, I didn't get to watch that one yet.
Okay,
Just
well,
looking at the video history I have here. So somebody can take it off, and I'll watch it and put my input here in a sec.
yeah, why don't you go ahead? Goatrix did cast it, so we can let Goatrix take this one away.
Cool.
Okay, so it was Inventors and Trolling. City, you broke out the Infinite Rockshot Arsenal, and it worked despite all odds.
It barely worked.
Tried it again on Highway, and got blown out for it, which you should have. Taught you a lesson. And then you blew them out the rest of the game. So yeah, good show. Not a lot to say.
Yeah, looks like to me that the same thing. You're testing out those 2 arsenals, but then when it got back to Palace, it looked like you were playing more your original playstyle with the vibration laser blasters and stuff like that. So
The Palace meme has restarted.
yeah, it's a reset.
As of this tournament, I am now undefeated on Palace, as well as City and Panorama. We'll see how long it lasts this time. So we can move on from the round 1 matchups then, and we'll talk about round 2 here. And we'll start with the teams on the lower end, and we'll work our way up to the teams at the top of the bracket. So if everybody has that little infographic pulled up, maybe I'll let's see. I'm gonna actually superimpose that for a minute. for everybody here. So you can see the first one we'll talk about. It's a little hard to see on here. It's Jokers and Sadistic Soul versus Darcia and Essie War Machine. Since you didn't get to have too much input on the previous round matchups, want to take this one away for us, Gur?
Okay. So I'm actually kind of sad that Darcia and War Machine's games didn't stream well.
It's sorry, I messed this up. It's Ebony and Savage Sim versus Jokers and Sadistic Soul.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I messed that up.
That'll be a interesting pairing. I don't know. Knowing Ebony and Savage the way that I do, I mean, it really, if you rock Amulet and Orb in most of your decks, can take away a lot of stuff because there's a lot of sorting and a lot of erase. Joker, I know Joker better than I know Sadistic. I'm trying to remember if he does a bunch of swords too. It should be interesting. I kind of am wondering if it's going to be a close range / erase fest of doom.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a bit of a slugfest. That tends to be more Joker's and Sadistic style, is get in there and just start slugging on people.
Yeah, I feel like this game is gonna be the Jokers and Sadistic, the offensive team, versus Ebony and Savage. It seemed to be more of a defensive. They like to play the longer game and kind of wear you out, erase all your attacks, and then slowly start wearing out at your capsules. So it'll be interesting to see if Joker and Sadistic can put, a ton of pressure on them and stop them before they set up their arsenals. So
I'm going to try and make a football reference, but watch me fail hilariously if I get this wrong. But do you think it's going to be like the Eagles versus the Vikings then?
I'm not much of a sports guy, so I'm the wrong person to ask that.
Okay. All right, that may fall flat, but I'm pretty sure the Vikings had like the best defense, and then the Eagles smashed them something ridiculous and ran them over with their offense. But that aside, what are your thoughts on this one, Goatrix?
Okay, so we're gonna go over the Eagles reference here. Jokers and Sadistic are gonna have to grease up the poles for their Super Bowl victory, so they can climb them afterwards if they're gonna want to stay safe here. Because the whole Savage and Ebony thing, it's kind of, you got to be ready for the gimmick up front. If you can prepare for the erase, you'll be okay. If you can't, don't. They will scrape you. And I'm not sure what level of preparations Jokers and Sadistics actually puts into preparing for other people's arsenals, as opposed to actually just playing what they run all the time and trying to like push on through. And they can. And I know Ebony and Savage off guard. I know they have a couple different. They have some non-hang strategies that use things like memory that can catch people off guard. They're not. I know they run a lot of erase shields. They run a lot of stuff. So it's going to be curious to see what level of preparation, if any, the Joker Sadistic do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be, at least for me, one of the more interesting matchups of this round down here at the bottom of the table, because these are both teams. Jokers and Sadistic were kind of the cutoff for the level needed to reach playoffs last time, right? They were the 8th place team before they had some issues that required them to leave the tournament. And Ebony and Savage were also a team that we kind of had pegged as likely to be a playoff team, right? And now we have both of these guys already at pretty brutal round 1 losses, looking to make the cut against each other right now. So this is going to be really cutthroat down at the bottom, and I'm really worried for whichever team loses here for their chances for making it out of the Swiss rounds.
Yeah, the only other sad thing is that most likely that match is, so it's going to be that we probably.
I think your mic is breaking up a little bit there, Goatrix.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just repeating, it's going to be sad, but I have a feeling that's probably going to be one of the matches that doesn't get recorded. So hopefully we get feedback. Hopefully that does happen where they can record it, because that'd be as hell to watch.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really fun one. I'll see if I can hopefully get one of them to try and stream it, and then I'll uh, do my best to watch it. So I guess our next match down in the lower end of the bracket right now is Affin Show and Orange Baby versus Darcia and War Machine. You want to take that one for us, Xanxus?
Um, I've only had experience of playing with Often Show, Orange, and War Machine. Never played with Darcia. So what I can say is that if it's going to be interesting to see how if Often Show and its Orange can get a little bit more playtime and use some of that kind of quirky environment hanging into their advantage. Because I mean, if they were to play it right when they played against us, we probably would have lost a few rounds. So they're I think that might throw off. I've really never seen Darcia. I've played War Machine before it. I was in the 1v1 tournament. So I know he's a little bit more of the aggressive side. I'm not sure how Darcia plays. And did we get any footage on those games at all, or no?
That was the one series we didn't get to see. Was Jay and Murder versus War Machine and Darcia.
Got it. Yeah. So not really much to say until I can see some gameplay from them. So.
Gur, I think you've played with some of these players a little bit more. Do you have any insight or anything that you want to predict on this one? You still with us, Gur?
He's muted at the moment.
Yeah, sorry. Was having feedback earlier, so I was resetting my stuff. Darcia, actually, he's a good short and mid range. He's a really decent all around player. So I think if he and War Machine can get some good synergy going, I think they have the possibility of shutting down Affin and Orange. Just based off of stuff. I was actually, when I first came back, Darcia and I had discussed being partners, like standing partners. And it just kind of fell apart. So I was super excited to see him in the tournament. And that's why I was the most sad that we didn't have any recordings on it, because I wanted to see how he was holding up and doing. But I think it'll be with the quirkiness of Orange, and the fact that not all of us know a lot about these four players. It's definitely going to be worth watching if we can watch it. Both from an educational standpoint and just the possibility of seeing some stuff that we just haven't seen.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun matchup to watch. Personally, I really hope that Affin and Orange put in a little bit extra effort on this one and some preparation, because this round right here is probably one of their best chances for picking up a win here in Swiss to get them that momentum they need if they want to actually propel forward in the tournament. And so I really hope to see them put in the preparation and see if we can get them to pull out something coordinated, something nasty. And we did see War Machine and Darcia. We didn't get to see it physically, but we know they pulled out a pretty dirty reduce entropy combo. So it'll be interesting to see who is able to pull out something dirty on the other in this matchup. Did you have anything you want to add to that one, Goatrix?
So right now, I'm just going to say that I'm going to probably give it to Darcia War Machine 3-0. I realistically think that Darcia and War Machine they're a couple steps ahead already in the planning and coordination phase than Affin and Orange are, and less personal, just not a chance to play or whatnot. Something tells me that they'll continue to develop more at a quicker rate than both Affin and Orange. And unless Affin and Orange really step it up this round and get things nailed down, I think Darcia and War Machine have a problem, honest.
Well put. And that does remind me, we failed to do predictions on these. So do you guys want to give me your numerical prediction for this matchup, Gur and Xanxus?
I'm gonna give it to Darcia and War Machine. I would say 3-1 on that for Darcia and War Machine.
What about you, Gur?
I think, like I said, Darcia and War Machine are going to pull it out. But but probably something like 3-1.
Sounds like at least
Or-
2 of you have some faith in Orange Baby's cornucopia of environmentals.
Sometimes it's so random that it's hard to prepare for. Unless you're rocking judgments or something, like it's hard to know what he's going to do to mess with you. And that unpredictability really just gives you an advantage sometimes.
Yeah, I
'cause
feel
he'll
like he just
pull
needs
it out of nowhere.
I feel like he just needs to coordinate better with his partner on what he's going to be, what environment he's going to be using, and that might work a lot better because I think he's so used to generally playing the battle royal scene where he just drops whatever and doesn't consider the person he's with. So if he can coordinate something like that, he might be able to get a win or two. But I think Darcia and War Machine just have a little bit more of that synergy going at the moment. So
Yeah, playing with Orange Baby reminds me of the missions in the single player where you test out the environmentals with JD. Not just because he plays JD, but because you never know what environmental he's going to lay down either. So it's almost like playing the single player whenever you play with Orange Baby. You never know what's coming.
That might be him. Who knows?
Yeah, he's the lost Esper from ancient lore to return to our community and bring us all sorts of wacky shenanigans. All we need now is Rain of Rocks.
What are you guys' prediction for Ebony and Savage and Jokers and Sadistic?
Yeah, we need to do that one. What's your prediction, Go?
3-1. 3-1 Ebony Savage.
Ooh. He's got the faith in the defense. What about you, Xanxus?
I'm gonna give it a 3-2 with Jokers. I feel like I'm hoping they can they know what Ebony and Savage are going to be using and kind of plan accordingly. So I will give it 3-2 to Jokers and Sadistic.
What about you, Gur? Are you gonna vote against or for Phantom Dust's #1 heal?
I will probably. I'm going 3-2, Joker and Sadistic, mostly out of petty revenge and hope.
There we go.
I don't know. I've been erased by those guys so many times. I don't have specially built arsenals going, I'm going to go play Ebony and Savage. So I think Joker and Sadistic could, if they can pull their stuff together and cope with the erase that everybody should know is coming, I really think they're going to be really solid.
Yeah, I think if Jokers and Sadistic fall back on bravery decision, that's where things are going to go bad. But if they are able to adapt a little more, plan a little better, maybe bring some of that extra faith and turbulence, I think they're in a good spot. It just depends on how much preparation they put in. Jokers and Sadistic with preparation, I say 3-1. Jokers and Sadistic without preparation, I say 1-3.
I agree with that too.
So I guess we'll move on.
Yeah,
Next
I think
matchup.
that's
Does anybody have anything else they want to add to either of those two before we go on to the next one?
Almost that.
Okay, so we'll head on. We've actually got Gur's match with Pop Crank versus Daffy and Filthy. Who wants to take this one first? Goat? Xanxus?
I'll take it. So I think the first round you guys had, Pop Crank and Unstoppable Gur, was kind of a, you can tell that as you guys were playing, you guys were kind of getting used to playing with each other more. So I'm looking forward to seeing this match and seeing how you guys improve overall. So haven't really played with Daffy Duck much. Have played with Filthy a ton. So are we doing predictions also?
Yeah, we'll do predictions with it as well.
Okay. So my predictions are going to be, I'm going to give it 3-2, and I'm going to be rooting for Gur in this one. So,
Ooh, with the presence bias here. Gur's with us, and so we got to root for Gur.
No, I've played with Gur, and he's definitely improved and everything. So I think as long as you guys have some time to practice and stuff like that, you guys got a good shot. So
Fair points.
Okay.
Fair points. I think it's definitely going to be a close matchup. What are some of your thoughts, Goat?
Man, now I'm gonna feel bad saying this because he's in the room. Right now, I'm leaning towards Daffy and Filthy. I've played enough with them to know that on their own, they're not bad players by any stretch of the word. And I just think that they have a little bit more time in right now, at least together, and just playing with other good players that I think has helped them out. So I think it's going to be 3-2 either which way, but I'm just going to lean a little bit towards Daffy and Connecticut. No, once again, no hard feelings, because you're in the room, girl. I feel bad, but
No, it's cool.
that's
I'm
where
good.
my lean. That's my
All right. Well, for me, I'm going to say Gur's my other heel because he's here. And so I believe in the righteous justice that is Dance of Death and Filthy. And I'm going to call it. I'm still gonna call it close, 3-2, but I don't think that Pop Crank is going to be able to out survival mode the pressure that Daffy and Filthy are able to put down, because I faced them in the last round, and admittedly, I did some silly things, and it wasn't very clean Phantom Dust, but I have to hand it to them. The match they picked up on Highway, they exerted a lot of pressure, and they did it really well, and so I don't think that in the long series, Pop Crank and Gur will be able to withstand that. But I think it'll definitely be a close one, and I think it'll be a fun one that I am definitely hoping to see footage of. So I guess our next matchup. Did you want to add anything? Do you want to throw out any trash talk?
Sure.
Gur?
No,
Got anything
I don't
to say?
trash talk because that usually explodes in your face. How I think it's gonna be a close match. I think it'll be 3-2. Honestly, I probably think Filthy and Daffy will come out on top, mostly because I just have a hard time connecting with my partner. And Daffy and Filthy just get more playtime together, and that's really going to benefit them. Like one-on-one, I can take Daffy just about every time. Filthy is a better player than I am currently. So, like, I mean, really, he's going to be the backbone in those matches, I think, for their team. Daffy has some really cool stuff that he pulls out, but when he was trying new decks and whatever, starting the new tournament up, I played a bunch of Battle Royale with him and ended up 1v1ing and taking the room more often than I thought I was going to. So I think, like I said, Filthy and Daffy will take it, though, just because of the playtime advantage.
Got it. So for our next matchup, and I was just reflecting. I'm saying this about almost every matchup because what I really like about round 2 here is we had a fair number of, I would say, mismatched matchups in round 1 where a really good team had maybe a middle of the pack team or something like that. But what round 2 has done is it's kind of forced people into the middle, forced people down to the bottom and towards the top, and then we'll see that flesh itself out more over the tournament, which is what's really fun about Swiss. But then you get more competitive matchups as the rounds go on. And so especially this middle section, I think, is going to have some really fun matchups. So our first one is going to be Madman and Mirage versus Kamikaze Mario and Some Poor Choices. You want to take that one away for me, Goat?
Okay. So, I think a lot of people were surprised by Sandal Evolution beating Mirage and Madman last round. I kind of wasn't, truth be told, but nothing personal, but I wasn't. That being said, I guess it all really depends on where Some Poor Choices is, how he decides to pick things up in the game, because during the Nathan and Wolf match, I definitely feel like Mario kind of rose to the occasion a little more than he did, and I think that will play another factor to determine how well they'll do in the tournament. I know Madman likes to use a lot of arrays. I know some Poor Choices packs Orber Amulet about everything he plays, so that may be a deterrent. But I guess where BC decides when he decides.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun one. What about you, Xanxus?
Out of all the matches here, I think this is the one I'm looking forward to. They definitely play different play styles. I've played with Madman before. He does erase. I think it's the first time I've ever been hit by. I think it's a hungry demon or whatever that eraser skill is. So it'll be interesting to see that. I know that some Poor Choices definitely plans out his stuff ahead of time, so I think he'll be ready for it. Kamikaze is a solid player. Literally just had a few games against him earlier today. So from what I can see so far, I'm going to give it a 3-1 for some Poor Choices and Kamikaze. Going to be rooting for them because I think they're gonna prepare a little more, and I'm sure they're gonna spar against a few people just in preparation for it. So
Interesting. What about you, Gur?
I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I haven't played much with Madmen. I've definitely played with Mirage, Kamikaze, and some Poor Choices. I think I agree with the earlier statement that Kamikaze and Poor Choices will prepare more. So they'll probably take the matches. I mean, because those two are both really decent players. It doesn't really matter who you pair them up with; they stand well, and they're just a really good pairing. And who doesn't want to make some Poor Choices? It's hard to root for him, or hard not to root for him. I'm sorry, because everybody wants to make some Poor Choices sometimes. So, yeah.
All right. So, what's your prediction on this one, Goat?
Want to kind of say 3-2 for some Poor Choices in Kamikaze, but I guess depending on how well that SBC plays that day, just because it felt like he was really off during those Nathan Wolf matches, it could be a 3-1. But either way, I'm going to lean in favor of SBC.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Madman and Mirage are still a team that it's going to be tough after this round if they take a second loss, but I still think they have an outside shot of making playoffs, and they're at least a good middle of the pack team here that could make it. But I feel like it's a bit of a tragedy for them this round too. Because this is a team they need to compete with for record wise making it in playoffs, but it's kind of a mismatch for them as well. Because mechanically, like if it just gets into a straight up brawl, I feel like both Kamikaze Mario and some Poor Choices outweigh their counterparts on the other team. And Madman and Mirage's strength is often, kind of that squirrely erase and things like that. But that's also, it's a mismatch into Poor Choices and Mario because they tend to be so heavily prepared for that kind of stuff. And so I feel like their strength is somewhat negated in this series. And so I have to agree as well. I want to say Madman and Mirage because I want to root for those guys and I really want to see them do well. But I feel like Poor Choices has been getting out of his funk and that Madman and Mirage's strength isn't going to be able to be as accessible in this series. So I think it'll also be a 3-1 or 3-2 for Poor Choices and Mario. Because our next series is going to feature yourself, Goatrix, and your partner Silent versus Nathan and Wolf. Xanxus, you want to take this one away for us?
let me see the matchups here.
Nathan and Wolf versus Goatrix and Silent.
All right. So, for the most part, at least myself, and I think Goatrix kind of knows more or less the play style of both Nathan and Wolf. So I think as long as you guys prepare for it, you should be good to go unless they decide to change things up. So I am going to give this one to. This is a tough one, but I'm going to give it to Goatrix on this one because I feel like he will just prepare a little bit for all those arsenals that Nathan and Wolf tend to run.
All right, Pop Crank, or sorry, I keep wanting to call you Pop Crank, and I know that you're not Pop Crank. I've said it like 5 times
No,
now.
I'm the reliable one.
Gur. Yeah, the unstoppable and unreliable. There we go. Unreliable Crank,
Yeah.
unstoppable Gur. You took a beating from the receiving end from Goatrix last round, but you've also seen the horrors of which Nathan and Wolf can inflict. So what do you think here? Who takes this?
Gosh. Well, there's practicality and hope. Wolf and Nathan have been a team for forever. They've been around a really long time, so they know how to play together. So if they get their momentum going, they're gonna win. I think it's gonna be a close set of games. I think it's gonna be 3-2. I'm not sure which way it's gonna go, because if Goat and Silent, they're really good together. If they can stop their momentum, they'll take it. But if they can't stop the momentum, I think Nathan and Wolf are gonna go all the way. So it's just kind of a coin toss for me. I'm not really sure which way it's gonna go.
You know, I'll ask Goat here for his input here in a minute on how he feels going to this matchup. But given what I've seen casting both matches, unless Goat and Silent get some actual practice time in, or unless Goat is able to come up with an answer to everything in the universe to try and handle what they play, I have to favor Nathan and Wolf in this after watching their form in the previous series. I think it's going to be tough. I worry about Silent adapting to some of the nasty things they might pull. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be a fun match either way. How do you feel going into this one, Goat?
Man, I'm going to stomp the hell out of them 3-0 in under 10 minutes. No problem.
With the confidence.
I mean, let's be fair. I mean, I if I say I'm not going to win, what am I doing? I mean, maybe it won't be that bad, but man, I'm going to make sure it's that bad.
Goatrix with the confidence and a little bit of trash talk to top us off. I'm definitely a fan. Let's see, our next match on the list. I won't get a whole lot of input on this one because it is mine. Once again, it is myself and Monkey versus Evolution and Sandal. Who wants to volunteer on this one?
I can go for this one. So, that's probably the one team I wouldn't want to be fighting just because of all the different arsenals that they run, Evolution and Sandal. You never know what those guys are going to throw at you. I've played against you, Bregan. I know you guys just formed a team recently with Monkey, and we've played, both me and Xanxus have played with you guys a few rounds previously. This is going to be a very close game. It all depends on how well prepared you guys are. I don't know how you can get prepared for Evolution and Sandal, because those guys just throw pretty much anything at you. So it's going to be a very close game. I'm going to give this one possibly a 3-2, and it's going to be on... this is really close. Like, this is a coin toss because it just really depends on what they're going to be running here. I'm going to go with Bregan for this one and Monkey, just because if you guys can start being aggressive and don't let them set up their arsenals in time, if they're running anything janky, you might be able to throw them off. But if it turns into a long game, it could be Evolution and Sandal. So,
okay. What about you, Goat?
Man, Monkey and Brager are gonna stomp the hell out of them 3 rounds flat, under 10 minutes.
Repeating his input from the previous round.
More trash talk for you, Bragan. If you lose this round, you need to drop out of the tournament. Simple.
So what does that say when you lost to me in the last one, huh?
Well, I should have dropped out then at that point too. It was true.
Well, you did because knocked you out. So you did drop out. What do you got on this one, Forrester?
I played. Actually, Pop and I played Evolution and Sandal. We gave them some practice rounds, and they are crazy good together. They have really coordinated arsenals. They're hard to beat when they get going. I played with them. It was me and Filthy against them as well, and they were just hard to shut down. So I guess my question for you would be, how comfortable are you and Monkey playing together?
Synergy-wise, we're still working on it. I wouldn't say we're uncomfortable, but we're not quite at the level where I was with my last partner. I think Monkey's still mechanically a little bit better than PD was in the last tournament. But, yeah, we're still working on the synergy. We haven't gotten as much playtime as I would like.
Well, with that being said, then they might be able to take you because I played you, and you're a really, really solid player. I haven't really played with Monkey, so I can't speak to his skill level. But if you guys don't get in some practice, I think Evolution and Sandal will take it. I mean, I think it'll be 3-2, but I think that practice, getting that synergy together is going to be key for you guys to take that. And if you don't get that, I think you're going to struggle.
Man, nobody's got any faith in the host. All right. Moving on then. Oh, you sounded sarcastic. Don't even give me that.
I'm dead serious.
Dead serious. Okay. So we have one of the faithful here. We have one faithful and 2 non-believers, 2 heathens. Thank you for being here, but you can leave now. No, I'm kidding. So our next matchup then would be Jay and Murder Mastodon versus Doom and Kanye. So we're now at the top of the table. We're up here with the big boys, the people who matter. So, Xanxus, since you're also one of these people who matters, you want to start us off on this one?
Well, as you guys all know, Kanye did teach me everything I know. So, just joking. So this will be a very interesting match. I've played with every single one of these guys. Not much with iDoom, just a few games here or there. So this is it'll be interesting to see because Jay and Murder they don't run really janky arsenals from what I've seen. They seem to run a lot of your regular kind of vanilla blasters, things of that nature, Tiger Strength. So they're a little bit more of the aggressive side for both players. From what I've seen with iDoom and Kanye, iDoom seems to be putting a lot of the pressure. And then Kanye is mostly taking advantage of that and kind of getting the hits off, which seems to be working really well with them. But Murder's a really solid player. So I think if Murder can hold down iDoom or they can possibly double team him, they're going to have a good chance. I'm going to give this a 3-1, and I'm going to go with Murder and Jay just because I've played with Jay before. He's improved a ton. And of course, I played with Murder numerous times, and he's probably one of the, I'd say, top 3 in my preference, like my mind, anyways. So,
what about you, Goat?
Man, this one's tough. So, as we all know, the heavens will, part ways for Doom to make sure that every flame sword, blazing bullet, whatever hits you, because God intended Doom to kill you. But at the same time, Jay and Mastodon are good together. Obviously, Mastodon was part of the winning team from the last tourney. They beat Doom I think was it they beat him twice in the last tourney? Was it one? I mean, they beat him at least once.
Yeah, it was
So
twice.
yeah, it was. So I mean, you got half of the anti-Doom tech right there in Mastodon. I guess it really depends on one, just how much God loves Doom that day, and if Kanye can play at the same level as all three of those people at the same time. Realistically, because I have faith in Doom, because he is the chosen one, I'm going to say 3-1 Doom.
Man, a lot of faith in Doom here over Mastodon. What about you, Gur? What do you got?
That's gonna be a tough match, a tough matchup. I I think it comes down to where Kanye's at that day, like you were saying before, where if he can bring his game up to the level of Jay's and Murders and Doom. Because if he's not bringing his A+ game, I think Jay and Murder are going to take it. So I think just on a consistency level, I think Jay and Murder might pull it out. Because Doom can lay down some serious cover and some serious pressure, and Kanye's a fantastic opportunist. But like both Jay and Murder are just really good together, and they're really, really consistent. So I think, I don't know what the score is going to be, but it's going to be fun to watch because I just have no idea.
Okay. So I guess I'll add my 2 cents on this one. Getting some echo from somebody here. Let's see, who's that echoing? Seems to have disappeared now. I think it's definitely going to be a really fun matchup. I've heard good things. I haven't really gotten to play Jay and Murder a whole lot now that they've teamed up. But I have heard good things about them and that Jay has really stepped it up. When I've seen Jay play with Murder, the few times I've gotten to play them, he's definitely played better. I have to hand him that. He's stepped up to the plate in that sense. But, I don't know if they'll be able to handle the pressure that is Doom. I think my question mark is Kanye. Is Kanye able to support and set up Doom in the way necessary for him to succeed? If yes, then I think Doom takes the series. If Kanye is able to be abused by Murder and Jay, then I think Doom is unable to carry. So I'm going to go ahead and take my bet that Kanye isn't able to stand up to the pressure in the way necessary. And I think it's going to be a very close series, like 3-2-1. And I think Murder and Jay can pull this one out and preserve their place top 3, top 4. Does anybody have any dissenting points that they want to argue there?
No, that kind of echoes what I was thinking.
It's really a fair assessment. I mean, I have played with Jay and Mastodon together, and they are very solid. My only thing is that we've seen Doom play with arguably lesser partners before and beat pretty solid teams. So, like I said, for me, it's really is Kanye up to snuff, and just how much are things going to be on Doom's side, which a lot of times they are.
Let's have a brief sidebar here on this one. Doom and Kanye as a team. We saw Doom and Ronan in the last tournament, and they were scary on their own. We know that there was some synergy issues, and Doom and Ronan kind of got to a part where they weren't happy playing together. But what I want to ask is, in a vacuum, ignoring the fact that they haven't had time to synergize a whole lot yet, but assuming they will, is Kanye an upgrade as a partner for Doom over Ronan, in your guys' opinion?
Yes, unequivocally.
What about you, Xanxus?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think so. Him and Ronan just, from what I saw, weren't meshing too. And Kanye tends to play with a lot of different partners, so I think he's kind of adapted to where he knows his specific roles and what he needs to do, and he tends to communicate a little better what he's going to do. So I've never played with Ronan. I don't know if he does communicate or anything, but I've played with Kanye constant, ton of times, and we fought against iDoom. I think I've got some of the games recorded where we've actually beaten iDooms with me and Kanye together. So I would say yes, it's definitely an improvement wise.
What about you, Gur? Is Kanye an upgrade from Ronan?
I've never actually. I think I've only played with Ronan a handful of times, so I can't speak to his skill level and stuff. But I do have to echo what was just said about Kanye plays with different people all the time, so he is very, very versatile. And his communication, it can be ridiculously good as long as he remembers to turn his mic on. It can be really solid. But I've had matches where like I'm talking to him and we're on a team. I have no idea what's going on. Like he'll stand still for a moment. I'm assuming something's going on with him at his house. So again, I think it's just focus. Like he's a great player, but I don't think his head's always in it.
Fair point. Okay, so I guess we can move on from that one. It seems everybody, at least those who knew both players, are of the opinion that Kanye will be an upgrade. And so I think it'll be really interesting. If they put in the effort, they could be a really scary team with a real shot at finals, if not winning. So I guess now we've been talking about people who matter based on records. We're at the people who matter most now with double 3-0 record here in this last matchup. We have the man Xanxus himself, along with his Zexy partner, versus Math and Guinan. You want to take this one for us, Goatrix?
Okay, so this one, in a way, it kind of for me, my opinion on it's going to be very similar to the Doom, to the whole Doom Kanye situation, but in this case, it's Guinan and Math. Guinan obviously stepped things up a lot with Murder in the last tournament to obviously overtake just about everyone. And then he also did the same for 1v1, which was crazy considering he was a 1v1 player before that, but got good just in time to win it. That being said, obviously, Xanxus and Xexus are a proven team. They obviously gave both Murder and Guinan a run for their money last time, and for me, the question mark is going to kind of be on Math, who kind of like how Jay has stepped up his play with Mastodon. I'm curious to see how much he's going to step up his play with Guinan. It's also going to be a question of, is Guinan going to try for the wacky, goofy arsenals that cost them games unnecessarily, like in last turn?
Well, this is Phantom Dust's greatest rivalry. We got Lethal Weapon 5 here with the return of he's too old for this. So I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. Gur, what are some of your predictions on this one?
I have to agree. I think it's going to come down to Math. Well, and yeah, Reborn's tendency to do wacky things. Because Math can be super, super solid and consistent, and he can just dodge for days. I mean, Reborn is just a super, super solid player, but Xanxus and Xexus have, they're both fantastic players in their own right. And when you pair them, it's really ridiculous a lot of time. So I think if we go into, predictions, I think Xanxus and Xexus are definitely more tried and true than Reborn and Math. So just overview and statistics, I would say that probably Xanxus and Xexus will probably take it, but it'll be really, really close, and it'll be a tough matchup.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and superimpose this over here. In my opinion, right here with my armchair. I think I'm going to cite the 1v1 tournament in Group B when I talk about this matchup. And the matchup I'm talking about is in Group B, where Math couldn't even wait until the semifinals for his first 3-0 loss, and it was against Xanxus. So we saw this matchup in tag, the Guinan versus Xanxus, but it was with Mastodon, not Math, in the last tournament. And we don't see Murder Mastodon, get manhandled like that in any of those kind of games versus players like Xanxus. However, we did see Math get manhandled by Xanxus himself in that matchup. And that, for me, with my brain armchair here that I've got on the screen for you, is going to tip the balance for me. I think Guinan with Murder, I think they would probably take this matchup again as they did the last two times. But Guinan with Math, there's still some question marks for me. Guinan is now switched to a jumper. I feel like he still has some room to grow in that department. In Math, I'm just not sure I'm a believer yet when it comes to Math. I think it'll be probably our closest matchup of the rounds here because Guinan is such a fantastic player, but I just don't know if Math is going to be able to hold up to the pressure if Xanxus and Xexus get that early rush on. And so I'm going to say 3-2-1, Xanxus and Xexus come out of this round with the win. So Xanxus, what do you got to say about your matchup?
It'll be an exciting match, just like it always is when both me and Reborn are playing. So it'll be interesting, is all I can say.
Yeah, you don't want to tease us with any trash talk on this one?
No trash talk. You know I never trash talk.
Man, gotta get rid of all these vanilla people in this cast. We need some people trash talking.
That's what I'm here for.
Enough of us that are older players have had that blow up in our faces horribly, where it's just not part of your disposition anymore.
No.
Man, it never. What are you talking about?
Well, for me, when I was an early player, I used to talk crazy amounts of trash when it was like I Snipe I and I were tag team partners all the time. We talked trash all the time. Although at that point in time, we were together all the time, so we could back it up consistently. But I think I don't see the value personally in doing it most of the time, other than to incite ire in other people. But then, when you go and throw down a bunch of shade or trash talk and it blows up in your face, you have that happen enough times, it stops being really appealing.
Yeah, but it's funny for the viewers, especially when it blows up. That's when it's best, is when Ebony and Savage trash talk on Kanye, and then Doom shows up as the ringer, and then we all get that sense of enjoyment, right? And I guess we'll wrap up with a couple of extra fun questions. We'll move through these pretty quickly because we went a little bit slowly through the recaps and that. So what would you say surprised you most in round one? We'll start at the top of the list here with Gur.
Say that last part again. Sorry, I got distracted.
What surprised you most in round one?
I think I have two things that surprised me the most. Like Doomsday coming out of nowhere. That was very, very surprising to me. I'd seen him back in the day. I've seen him a couple of times doing stuff. I'd seen his interest in tournaments, and I recapped. I looked at some of the stuff before of him playing, but seeing him come out of nowhere, I think is very gratifying. To give a wild card, him and Kanye are really the wild card team of this season. And I think the holes versus holes match I had in round one was probably one of the most surprising things I had seen, because I've never come across that. And that was just so much fun.
The Silent 79 special. What about you, Xanxus? What was your biggest surprise of round one?
The one I was thrown off about, I had no idea it has to be the same thing. Had to be the iDoom and Kanye, because the moment I found out that they were a team was the moment where you posted the video of it. And I was talking about it previously when the roster of people got registered. I'm like, oh, iDoom's not in it. That's just, that's too bad. And then next thing you know, I'm just seeing a video with both Kanye, iDoom, and then Savage and Ebony are back together. So for me, that just completely threw me off. There was, no announcement or anything of them switching teams. So it was just kind of like the video went up, and then all of a sudden they were officially a team. So I think that right there was a huge surprise for me watching that. So
Yeah, there was a bit going on in the background that we had to deal with to try and get things smoothed out with that matchup. But we did get it played, and the substitution rules were at least mostly used in a positive way. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. I think it was a really fun matchup. Give me something fresh, Goat. What was your biggest surprise of round one?
How much I like the change to the level selection rules. That is the single best thing I think that's happening in this tournament.
Really? Maybe elaborate on that a little bit. What do you like about
Sure
it?
thing. So, in the past, and I think there's been, 5 or 6 other previous tournaments, we've gone by a fairly standard rule of, each team chooses a ban, start in order from Palace going forward from there. I really like the change in strategy and approach that this new format chooses. For one, you choose a map, and then the other team gets to choose a direction. So you kind of have to really think now a little bit more about your picks rather than, well, I'm going to stonewall this person out of, like, say, a highway, or in your case, like a palace. Depending on where the person chooses to start the maps, you can block off entire sections if you're confident that you're going to 3-0, or force them to make a tough decision in which way their maps are going to go. I actually think it's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting so far, and I'm really interested to get to try it a little bit more myself as the rounds go on. So for my next question, what are you secretly, or rather since we're asking you openly, not so secretly, hoping to see happen in round two? We'll start in reverse order. Why don't you go first, Goat?
Okay, so me 3-0 Nathan, duh.
All right, Xanxus.
Okay.
So wait,
okay. I'll give it a real. Let me give a real answer.
You got a real answer?
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah. So I would like to see everyone kind of proven wrong about the guiding predictions from last round, because I feel it felt like we were dogpiling a little hard on math. So I kind of like to see him actually win that one. Nothing personal, Xanxus, but it kind of like to see it because it feels like you get dogpiled.
Oh, poor math. What about you, Xanxus?
So the question is what I would...
What are you secretly hoping to see in round two?
Round two. I kind of want to see iDoom and Kanye make it all the way to the finals. I want to actually be able to go against them. So I guess that'll be mine.
Assuming he makes it to the finals versus them.
Yeah.
What are you secretly hoping to see in round two, Gur?
I gotta echo Xanxus. Like, I really want to see that wild card team just like disrupt everything. I really want to see Doom and Kanye go all the way just for something a little bit different. We have an established rank of players, where people know that if you play with these people or against these people, if you're on their team, you're going to win, and if you're against them, you're going to lose. But there's a lot of question mark, and I really kind of hope that that Math can pull out at least a really good game, because he can be really, really solid. So I guess I really am just hoping to see people playing well together. It's funner to watch really good matches, where they're 3-2 and the last match is the deciding factor. That's just a lot more interesting to view, and it's a lot more interesting to talk about when you're not sure how it's going to go. So I have to say, I got to vote for unpredictability of Math and Kanye. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Everyone's still there?
I think so.
I think we may have lost Brigan and possibly
Oh, I
Goatrix.
accidentally popped the mute button there. I am here.
Okay.
I was moving on to the next question, and I apologize for the downtime there. So this one may need a little explanation, but so what prediction would you have had before the tournament started that seems on its way to being completely wrong right now? We'll start with Xanxus.
All right, so let's take a look here. So what was the question more time? One prediction.
So what would you predict before the tournament started? What was something that you had predicted that seems on its way to being proven wrong?
I was surprised by some poor choices in Kamikaze. Both me and Xanxus were kind of rooting for them. We've seen them play. We've seen how well they've improved. From what I've heard, they sparred a lot with both Reborn and Murder. So, you play with people that long, you tend to kind of learn and adapt. So, I was surprised by that they lost, and but that would be mine.
Okay, so go. What was your pre-tournament prediction that seems to be on its way to being completely wrong?
I didn't have a lot of heavy, hard thoughts about the tournament in advance. I think I was mostly the one that was wrong for me. Mostly was just the number of teams that actually showed up for the tournament. I was kind of thinking that there's actually going to be kind of less teams showing up for the tournament overall, just as it feels like, unfortunately, just starting after the holiday, the interest in the game had kind of waned a little bit. There's a couple of old teams that didn't return, like say Attitude and Ghost, and a couple other players that I was hoping were going to show up that didn't. So that way, I was happy at least to see that we at least got the same numbers, if not a little bit better.
Yeah, the numbers have definitely been good so far, and we had all matches played in round one, which was good. What about you, Gur? Your round one prediction that seems to be on its way to being proven wrong.
My round one prediction was that I was going to get shut out by Goatrix and Silent, and that didn't happen. So that was encouraging.
So eat
I don't know,
Goatrix.
Well, no, it's just I didn't have a lot of high hopes for our team, since we didn't get to practice much, and our styles aren't necessarily super synergetic. So I joined the tournament just because I love the game, and I was like, I just thought it'd be fun to play. I just didn't figure I'd get very far, but the fact that we were able to put up such a good fight was really great, I think, for me at least, personally.
Nice. All right, so I've got one last question that I added mid-podcast. Which is the stronger meme? Xanxus and Jackpot or Math losing in the semifinals?
Should I take
all my money's on the Jackpot meme?
It would be, Goat. It would be.
Yeah, it would be.
I nearly got you a win in the last tournament. What do you say, Gur? Which is the stronger meme? Math losing in the semifinals or Xanxus and Jackpot?
Oh, Xanxus and Jackpot, but that's mostly just because of my love of Jackpot.
Xanxus, are you gonna disagree with the majority
I'm
majority
gonna have
here?
to say the same thing. Dude.
Xanxus and Jackpot stronger than the meme of Math losing in the semifinals. Does that mean that Math makes it past the semifinals in this tournament? Yes or no?
Has he gone through both semifinals? He hasn't made it through, or was it just once?
He was knocked out in the semifinals of both 1v1 tournaments.
This is tag though. Who knows?
He
And he's
didn't
got a
make it out.
strong-
He did not make it out of Swiss rounds in the last tag tournament.
No.
So
Yeah. I can't go with that meme, Joe, because he's got Guidon as partner.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's either Math loses in the semifinals or Math and Guinan make the finals. So what do you guys say?
Mm.
Yes or no, Gur?
I honestly, I do hope Math and Gagnum, Gagnum make
Guinan.
the finals. Guinan. I don't know. That's why I just call him Reborn.
Okay.
So I really do, because I like unpredictability. I don't like always going with the flow. Who doesn't like an underdog victory or somebody that didn't see it coming? You know, like everybody
think,
enjoys an underdog story.
I was gonna say I don't think he's an underdog.
No, no, not. I didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying, Xanxus and Xexus are tried and true and proven, right? Math and Reborn are not, but they have a lot of potential, and so I would like to see that potential rewarded or something different rewarded. Like, I don't know. On that same train of thought, I would love to see a tag team tournament where you can't play with your standard partner, like a carrier and a reacher tournament, where you have one really solid player and one okay player, and you pit them together against one other solid player and one other okay player, and just see what happens. Because I think that tournament would be ridiculously fun to play in and watch.
Gur and Xanxus tag team.
Gur and Xanxus 2018 running for Senate.
Mhm. There we go.
Actually, we're pretty. Yeah, Xanxus and I could do okay.
Okay,
but
so
I
now we
just
know
think-
who not to pair up. Okay, thank you.
Damn it, Gur.
You can't let me have Xanxus or Xexus, because I synergy with both of them pretty well. You know, like, and I'm not an amazing player like some of you guys are, but I don't know, predictable, I think, and I can carry some of my own weight, and I have been improving.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to change my preconceptions of the game. But I'm derailing from the topic. So,
All right. Well,
Funny girls, but
we've waxed long in this one, but does anybody have anything they'd like to add before we end? Go.
Nope. I'm good.
Xanxus? Gur? No? Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. Too bad we weren't able to get Mirage partway through. Thanks again for the participation, and we'll see you all next time. Good luck in your individual matchups in round 2, except for you, Xanxus. Hope you eat turds and die. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. Love having you guys here, and I hope you all do well. Look forward to facing you in later rounds, and good night.